Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video on my channel. In this video I would like to talk about a few objects that you can capture right now with your telescope in the night sky. So the objects I'm planning to talk about in this video are suitable for different telescopes. So in this video I'm planning to talk about these different objects and I'm planning to talk about the best focal length for these objects. But now let's get started with this video. So the first object I would like to talk about is comet C2025A6. So this is a comet I've captured multiple times in the last few weeks, and right now there's still a chance for you to capture this comet with your telescope. When talking about the equipment, you do have different options when planning to capture this comet. So you can use a very wide field lens, for example, and on the other side you can use a lens with longer focal length, let's say 200 millimeters, but you can even use a telescope for capturing this object. So for example, right now you can see an image I've captured of this comet with the ASCAR SQA55 telescope in combination with a full frame camera. So as you can see, I was able to capture a great image of this object with a wide field telescope and a full frame camera. But you can even use a longer focal length for capturing this object. So much said about the first object. So definitely this is an object you can capture right now, but if you're planning to capture this object, try to do that in the upcoming days, because in a few weeks it will be challenging to capture this object. The next object I'm planning to talk about is the Andromeda Galaxy. This is a galaxy that is very well known in the hobby of astrophotography because it's one of the easiest, or I guess the easiest object to capture, so the easiest galaxy to capture. That's because this galaxy is very bright and very big in the night sky. So you can even capture this galaxy with a lens, for example. So right now, for example, you can see an image I've captured of this galaxy with a lens with a focal length of 135 millimeters. And as you can see, I was able to capture a great image of this object with a relatively short focal length. I've even captured this galaxy with my bigger telescope, so with a focal length of almost 800 millimeters. So right now you can see an image I've captured of this galaxy with a bigger telescope, and this image also is definitely quite good. So in this case, you can definitely capture this galaxy with different telescopes, starting from wide field telescopes all the way up to telescopes that do have a very high focal length. So if you're planning to capture this galaxy, right now is a great time to capture this galaxy because it's very high in the night sky, which makes it easier for you to capture this galaxy. Another important aspect about this galaxy is that it's very bright, which means that you only need a relatively short exposure time in order to capture great structures. For sure, as always, a longer exposure time is definitely better, but when using a camera and when planning to capture this galaxy, you can already capture great images with an exposure time of just 1 hour. So that's definitely possible. The next object I would like to talk about is a galaxy that is located quite close to the Andromeda Galaxy, which is the Triangulum Galaxy. So this galaxy is quite close to the Andromeda Galaxy and is also a relatively big galaxy in the night sky, and it's also very bright. It's a bit smaller than the Andromeda Galaxy in the night sky, but definitely it's also a great object to capture. And even when using a relatively wide field telescope, you can still capture amazing images of this object with your telescope. So right now, for example, you can see an image I've captured with my bigger telescope, which has a focal length of almost 800 millimeters, and as you can see, it's definitely a great galaxy to capture. The next object I'm planning to talk about is the Pleiades star cluster. The Pleiades star cluster is one of the easiest objects in the night sky to capture. That's because this object is so bright that you can even see it in the night sky with your own eyes. So it's a very bright star cluster, and even when just taking a test image of this star cluster, you can already see some structures in this star cluster. So you can capture great images with a relatively short overall exposure time. Right now you can see an image I've captured of the Pleiades star cluster with my bigger telescope, so with a focal length of almost 800 millimeters. I've also captured this star cluster with my lens at a focal length of 135 millimeters, and you can see the image right now. It's also great because you can capture wide field images of this star cluster, so definitely an object that is suitable for beginners as well. The next object I'm planning to talk about is the California Nebula. This object is located quite close to the Pleiades star cluster, and it's a very big object in the night sky. In this case, I really recommend to use an astro-modified DSLR camera if you plan to use a DSLR camera. That's because there's a lot of H-alpha in this object, and when using a normal DSLR camera, there are built-in filters that block that light, and therefore you will need a longer exposure time in order to capture great objects or great images of this object. I've captured the image you can see right now with my telescope, which has a focal length of almost 800 millimeters, in combination with a full-frame camera, which is the Canon EOS 60A. In this case, it's the astro-modified version of this camera. The next object I'm planning to talk about is a star cluster. So in a few days there will be a full moon, and during that time the best objects to capture are star clusters. And therefore I wanted to talk about this star cluster in this video. So the star cluster I'm talking about is a double star cluster. So these two star clusters are called NGC 869 and NGC 884. So when capturing this star cluster, you can capture amazing images with a relatively short overall exposure time. But when collecting a very long exposure time, you can make structures visible in this star cluster that you cannot capture with a very short exposure time. So in this case, when collecting a very long exposure time, you can see a bit of H-alpha surrounding this star cluster. I guess I've captured this star cluster 2 years ago when there was a full moon, so I was not able to make these H-alpha regions visible, but I definitely plan to do that in the upcoming weeks when there is a new moon. I'm definitely planning to collect a total exposure time of around 10 hours or 20 hours, something in that range, in order to make these structures visible in this double star cluster. But you can even capture amazing images with a relatively short overall exposure time, so it's definitely possible. So these are the objects I've planned to introduce. I guess these are great objects to capture right now. Some of them will be even better in a few months, but generally speaking, these are great objects to capture right now. If you know any further objects, feel free to share them down below in the comments, because that will definitely be helpful for other astrophotographers as well. If you would like to further support me, you can also become a member of my channel. Becoming a member of my channel would really support me, and your support really means a lot to me. If you have any further questions, definitely feel free to ask me down below in the comments, and I will definitely help you. And if this video was interesting and helpful to you, I would really appreciate a like and a subscription. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, clear skies, Felix.